Hey everyone, I'm Noah.
And I'm Lila. We're really happy you're here.
Okay. I need to confess something before we start. A few months ago, I went to a networking event. You know, one of those places where everyone somehow looks successful before they even say hello.
Oh no, the kind where people casually hold a cup of coffee, like they're the CEO of coffee.
Exactly. See? That's what I mean. Everyone looks so relaxed, so confident. Meanwhile, I walked in thinking, please don't make me introduce myself.
And then someone asked you to introduce yourself.
Within 30 seconds. I didn't even have time to panic properly.
That's rude. At least give the poor man a full minute to panic.
Right? So I smiled, shook hands, said, "Hi, I'm Noah. Nice to meet you." And somehow, I sounded completely calm.
Wait, somehow? Because judging by your story, I'm guessing the inside version looked a little different.
A little. Lila, inside my head, it sounded like, abort mission, find the nearest exit, become invisible.
It's amazing how our brains can create an entire disaster movie while our face is just sitting there, smiling politely.
Exactly. And here's the weird part. Afterwards, someone came up to me and said, "I wish I had your confidence." I almost looked behind me to check if they were talking to someone else.
No way.
Yes way. I wanted to say, my confidence? You mean the one that was seconds away from running into the parking lot?
You know what's funny? I think almost everyone has had a moment like that. You give the presentation, answer the phone, walk into the interview, speak English, smile, look perfectly fine, while your heart is doing gymnastics.
Yeah, which made me wonder about something. If everyone thought I was confident, but I definitely didn't feel confident, then what was actually happening?
Were you pretending? Or were you quietly becoming the kind of person you thought you were pretending to be?
That's such an interesting question. Because maybe we've all heard the advice, fake it till you make it. But is that actually good advice? Or is it teaching us to become someone we're not?
Or maybe we've misunderstood that phrase all along.
Today we're talking about confidence, why so many of us keep waiting until we feel ready, and why the first brave step might come long before the confident feeling ever does.
So grab a cup of coffee or tea, and if you've ever smiled on the outside while quietly panicking on the inside, you're definitely in the right conversation.
Let's begin.
You know what I've noticed?
What?
Nobody ever says, "I can't wait to feel awkward today."
That would be a very strange morning. Today's goals: drink more water, answer emails, feel deeply uncomfortable.
Exactly. Actually, maybe we do have that goal. Just accidentally. Because every time something feels uncomfortable, we postpone it.
I'll do it later,
When I'm more confident,
when I'm more ready.
when I know what I'm doing.
It's almost like confidence has become a permission slip. We won't let ourselves start until confidence signs the paper.
Oh, I like that. The problem is, confidence is terrible at paperwork. It never shows up on time.
It's always late. Sorry, I'm here now. You've already missed 3 opportunities.
Seriously. Think about how many times people say, "I'll apply for that job," once I feel confident.
I'll start speaking English once I'm more confident.
I'll ask that question, once I'm confident.
Always.
But has anyone ever actually woken up one morning thinking, today's the day. Confidence has finally arrived.
Like Amazon delivered it overnight. Your confidence has been left safely by the front door.
Mine keeps getting delayed.
Same.
And maybe that's because we've learned something backwards. School teaches us this order.
What do you mean?
Study first, practice, take the test, hopefully succeed.
I see. So we start believing life works the same way.
Yep, prepare, 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 and eventually you'll feel ready.
But real life doesn't send you a practice version first. Your first interview is your first interview.
Your first driving lesson is your first driving lesson.
Your first day at work still counts, even though you've never done it before.
Oof, that reminds me of my first office job.
Tell me.
Everyone kept saying things like, "We'll circle back. Let's touch base. We need to leverage this." I nodded the whole time.
Did you know what any of that meant?
Not even slightly. For about 3 weeks, I honestly thought touch base involved physically going somewhere. I was waiting for someone to point out a building and say, "That's the base."
Honestly, office English deserves its own dictionary.
I know, right? I was too embarrassed to ask. So I just smiled, kept taking notes, and secretly searched everything later.
You know, that reminds me of my first time joining a gym.
I'm all ears.
Everyone looked like they knew exactly what they were doing. Meanwhile, I walked confidently toward a machine, sat down, pulled one handle, nothing happened. Pulled harder, still nothing.
Please tell me someone helped.
Eventually, a trainer walked over, pressed one tiny button, and suddenly the machine worked perfectly. I had forgotten to remove the safety pin.
Oh no.
The worst part? I smiled and said, "Oh, yeah, I was just checking."
Checking what? Whether gravity was still working?
Exactly. I was absolutely pretending. But here's the funny thing. I went back the next day and the next week. A month later, I actually knew how to use the machines. I wasn't pretending anymore.
Wow, that's interesting. Neither of us waited until we felt confident. You didn't, I didn't. We just looked slightly less confused than we actually were.
Maybe that's how almost every beginning looks. Not fearless, just brave enough to stay.
And maybe that's the part nobody talks about. We keep waiting for confidence to come first, when most of the time, confidence is quietly waiting for us to move first. You know, there's still one thing about the phrase "fake it till you make it" that bothers me.
The word fake?
Exactly. Actually, no, not exactly. It's more that it makes me picture someone pretending to be an expert. Like walking into a hospital and saying, "Good morning, everyone. I've watched 3 medical dramas. Hand me the scalpel."
No, thank you. I'd suddenly feel much better somewhere else.
Right? Nobody wants fake doctors, fake pilots, or fake firefighters. So why do people keep telling us to fake confidence? It almost sounds like bad advice.
You know, I used to think that too. I thought fake it meant pretend you're amazing.
Pretend you've got everything figured out. Pretend you've never made a mistake.
Honestly, that sounds exhausting.
And impossible. Because eventually somebody asks a question, and suddenly your brain goes, "Oh, we definitely should have studied."
Exactly. So maybe we've been faking the wrong thing all along.
What do you mean?
Maybe we're not supposed to fake knowledge, or experience, or talent. Maybe we're supposed to fake being willing to try.
Wow. That's interesting. There's a big difference there.
Huge difference. Imagine you're learning English. Which sounds more stressful? Pretending you're fluent, or simply acting like making one mistake won't ruin your day?
Oh, that's actually a completely different challenge. Because pretending to be fluent feels like carrying around a giant backpack full of pressure.
You have to remember every grammar rule,
Every pronunciation.
every word.
One mistake, and you feel like the whole performance falls apart.
Totally. But pretending you're okay with making mistakes, that's much lighter. You can actually breathe.
Speaking of breathing, I remember ordering lunch in English while traveling. I wanted mashed potatoes. Simple, right?
Keep going.
Except I completely forgot the word mashed. So I just looked at the menu, pointed, and confidently said, "I'll have the, squished potatoes."
Squished potatoes. Honestly, I'd know exactly what you meant.
The waiter smiled. He didn't laugh. He didn't correct me. He just said, "Mashed potatoes?" I said, "Yes, those." And that was it. The world kept spinning.
That's my favorite kind of story. Before it happened, your brain probably imagined a disaster.
Oh, absolutely. My imagination had prepared a full movie. The restaurant goes silent. People stand up. Someone points at me and shouts, "He said squished!"
Breaking news. Local man survives vocabulary mistake. More at 6.
Exactly. Real life was way less dramatic than my imagination.
I had something similar. The first time I cooked dinner for friends, I accidentally added way too much salt.
Uh-oh.
I was so embarrassed. I almost wanted to throw the whole meal away.
Did you?
No. One of my friends took a bite, made a funny face, then laughed and said, "Well, at least none of us will have low blood pressure tonight."
That's a very supportive friend.
Right? Then everyone laughed. We ordered pizza, and somehow that became one of my favorite evenings. Not because dinner was perfect, because nobody expected it to be.
You know what I'm realizing?
What?
Both of our stories have the same ending. Nobody cared about the mistake nearly as much as we did.
You're right. Most people aren't secretly waiting for us to fail. They're usually thinking about their own lives, their own worries, their own little awkward moments.
So maybe confidence isn't pretending I know everything. Maybe it's quietly saying, I don't know everything, but I'll still give this a try.
Hey, I love that. Because courage doesn't always look fearless. Sometimes courage sounds like, "Hi, I'm a little nervous, but here goes."
And maybe that's the version of fake it till you make it worth keeping. Don't fake your knowledge.
Don't fake your experience.
Don't fake being perfect.
Just borrow a little courage until your real courage catches up.
Can I admit something a little embarrassing? Actually, never mind. At this point, we've already shared enough embarrassing stories. One more won't hurt.
That's the spirit. Go on.
For years, I thought people would like me more if I looked impressive. So whenever I met someone new, I'd quietly start collecting things to prove. Where I worked, what I'd done, interesting places I'd been, even stupid little things.
Like what?
Oh, this is painful. Someone would say, "I like coffee," instead of just saying, "Me too." I'd somehow end up saying, "Oh yeah, I've tried coffee from 7 different countries."
7? Were you introducing yourself or applying to become a coffee ambassador?
I don't know. Looking back, I wasn't having conversations. I was building a resume, one sentence at a time.
I think a lot of us do that. Maybe not with coffee, but with something. Achievements,
Grades,
our job.
even our English.
Yep, even our English. It's like we're quietly asking, "Please think I'm enough."
Oh, wow. That sentence hit me a little. Because honestly, that's exactly what it felt like. Not sharing, proving.
And the strange thing is, the harder we try to impress people, the harder it becomes to relax.
I can relate.
You're always wondering, did I say the right thing? Was that interesting enough? Did they like me? It's exhausting.
It really is. You're not joining the conversation anymore. You're performing in it.
That's such a good way to put it. You're on stage instead of sitting at the table.
You know, this reminds me of someone I met a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of those people everyone respected. Calm, smart, really successful. Honestly, I assumed he had never doubted himself for a second.
Wow. Those people always seem like they came out of the factory already confident.
Right? Then one day, He was giving a presentation.
Hmm.
Before it started, he looked at me and quietly said, "I'm nervous." I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because I genuinely thought he was joking.
He wasn't?
Not at all. He smiled and said, "I still get nervous every single time." Then he walked on stage, gave an amazing presentation, and afterward everyone said, "Wow, he's so confident."
That's really interesting. So his confidence wasn't the absence of nerves. It was deciding that nervousness didn't get the final vote.
Exactly. That completely changed how I saw confident people. Maybe they aren't fearless. Maybe they're just less interested in hiding the fear.
That reminds me of my piano teacher. I loved listening to her play. She made everything look effortless.
And then?
One day I asked, "Do you ever make mistakes anymore?" She smiled and said, "Every single day." I remember staring at her like, "Excuse me? Were we listening to the same performance?"
You wanted a refund on your illusion.
Exactly. Then she said something I'll never forget.
What's that?
She told me, "The difference is, I don't panic anymore when mistakes happen. I just keep playing."
Wow. I love that. I just keep playing. Honestly, that doesn't only work for music. That's life.
Isn't it? A conversation, a meeting, learning English, trying something new. Sometimes confidence isn't saying, "I won't make mistakes."
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes confidence is saying, "If I do, I'll keep going."
That's beautiful. You know what's funny?
What?
If someone forgets a word while talking to me, I don't think, "What an embarrassment." I usually think, "Oh, I've done that too."
Exactly. We judge ourselves so much more harshly than we judge everyone else.
Maybe because we're watching the director's cut of our own lives. Every mistake, every awkward silence, every weird sentence. Everyone else, they only see one scene.
That's actually true. And most of the audience isn't even reviewing your performance. They're wondering if they sounded weird 5 minutes ago.
So everybody thinks they're the main character, while secretly worrying they're the awkward extra.
I love that. And maybe that's why authenticity feels so refreshing.
Yes,
The moment someone admits, "I'm nervous," or "I don't know," or "I've never done this before," something changes. You trust them more, not less.
maybe real confidence isn't acting like you know everything.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's quietly believing, "I don't know everything. But whatever happens, I'll survive not knowing."
And strangely, that's the moment you stop performing and finally start connecting.
You know, after everything we've talked about today, I think I owe my past self an apology.
Oh? That's serious. What did past Noah do?
Nothing. That's the problem.
Hmm.
I never gave him any credit. I celebrated the big moments, the presentation, the interview, the promotion, but I completely ignored all the tiny victories that made those moments possible.
Like what?
Walking into the room, instead of making an excuse to leave. Making the phone call, instead of rehearsing it for an hour. Saying hello first. Ordering food without pointing at the menu. Like I was playing an extremely nervous game of charades.
Wait, you rehearsed phone calls too?
2?
Oh, absolutely. I'd spend 10 minutes preparing, then the person would answer with something I hadn't expected, and suddenly my entire script exploded.
Exactly. My brain would be like, "Abort mission, they've gone off script."
Meanwhile, the other person's just trying to ask, "How are you?"
Honestly, my imagination deserves an Oscar. It always assumes the worst.
Mine deserves one too. Best drama. every year.
You know what's funny? The real conversation is almost always shorter and much kinder than the imaginary one.
So true. Our imaginary audience is incredibly judgmental. Real people, they're usually just trying to remember where they parked.
Maybe that's why those tiny moments matter so much. Nobody applauds when you finally ask one question in class. Nobody gives you a certificate for introducing yourself. Nobody plays triumphant movie music because you successfully ordered a coffee.
And tonight's grand prize goes to...
The brave human who said hello without immediately pretending to check their phone.
Honestly, I'd watch that award show.
Me too. Because those are the moments that quietly change us. They're small, but they count. Even if nobody else notices.
That reminds me of training wheels. When you're learning to ride a bike, they almost feel embarrassing. You can't wait to get rid of them.
Same. I thought taking them off meant I'd officially become good. Looking back, those little wheels weren't holding me back. They were giving me just enough confidence to keep practicing.
Exactly. Nobody expects a child to ride perfectly on day one. The training wheels aren't pretending you already know how to ride.
Mm-hmm.
They're helping your brain collect evidence. Oh, I stayed upright that time. Oh, I made the turn. Oh, I'm getting better.
Maybe fake confidence works like that. It's not meant to last forever. It's just borrowing a little courage until your real confidence catches up.
And one tiny success leads to another. You order the coffee, then you ask an extra question.
Yes.
Next week, you make the phone call. A month later, you're speaking up in a meeting. It never feels dramatic while it's happening.
Maybe that's why confidence feels so mysterious. It doesn't arrive one morning, knock on your door, and say, "Congratulations, I'm here." It sneaks in, quietly. One tiny success at a time.
Like your brain slowly changing your name tag. From, I don't think I can do this, to, oh, I've done something like this before.
I love that, because maybe confidence isn't really a feeling. Maybe it's a memory. A collection of little moments where your brain says, "We survived that, and that. Oh, apparently we can do this now."
That's why confident people sometimes can't even tell you when they became confident. There wasn't one magical day. There were hundreds of ordinary days. Tiny conversations, tiny risks, tiny victories.
Yep, little lies that slowly became true. Not because you fooled the world, but because you kept showing up until your brain finally believed you. You know, I think we've been giving confidence a little too much credit.
What do you mean?
We've been talking about confidence like it's the person leading the journey. Maybe it's just the person who shows up at the end and takes all the credit.
That's so unfair. Confidence is that group project member who appears in the last 5 minutes and says, "So we did great."
Fair point. Meanwhile, courage has been doing all the work.
Poor courage. It deserves a better marketing team.
Then I started thinking, when was the last time confidence actually came first? I couldn't think of a single example.
Not even childhood?
Especially not childhood. Think about learning to walk. Did babies stand there thinking, I'll wait until I feel more confident?
Imagine that conversation. I've reviewed the risks. Falling seems highly likely. I'll revisit walking next quarter.
Absolutely. No, they stood up, fell over, cried, stood up again, fell again, and somehow nobody called them failures.
That's true. In fact, every adult in the room usually cheers, even after the 10th fall.
Can you imagine if adults learned that way? Someone starts learning tennis, misses the ball, The crowd goes, "Yes, you missed better than last time."
I think that was your strongest failure yet.
I'd honestly love that.
Me too. Because somewhere along the way, we stopped treating beginners kindly, especially ourselves.
Learning to ride a bike wasn't graceful either. I remember wobbling down the street, looking like the bicycle had its own opinions.
Mine definitely did. I spent more time in the bushes than on the road.
And yet, neither of us thought, maybe biking just isn't for me. We expected to wobble.
That's interesting. When we're children, mistakes feel like part of learning. When we're adults, mistakes suddenly feel like evidence that we shouldn't have started.
Wow, I don't think I'd ever noticed that before.
Neither had I. And maybe that's the real problem. Not that we've lost confidence, but that we've forgotten how beginners are supposed to look.
Messy, awkward, slow, sometimes a little ridiculous.
Very ridiculous. Have you ever watched someone learn to swim? There's splashing, confused arms, water everywhere, and somehow they still end up swimming one day.
Or speaking. Think about babies learning language. Nobody laughs because they pronounce a word wrong. Nobody says, "Come back when your grammar improves."
Exactly. People smile. They encourage them. They celebrate every tiny sentence.
That's kind of heartbreaking. Because as adults, we stop giving ourselves that same kindness. One mistake in English, and suddenly we think, "I'm terrible at this."
When really, you're just doing exactly what every fluent speaker once did. Learning. One awkward sentence at a time.
You know what this means? Maybe confidence has never been the beginning of the story. Not once. Not when we learned to walk.
Not when we learned to ride a bike.
Not when we made our first friend.
Not when we started school.
Not when we learned our first language.
Not when we fell in love with a hobby.
Confidence always arrived later.
Quietly. Almost unnoticed.
Which means maybe we've been waiting for the wrong thing all these years. We've been waiting to feel confident before taking the first step.
When the first step has been creating confidence all along.
That's such a strange thought. The person you're hoping to become someday might actually be built by all the tiny, awkward versions of you that exist today.
And maybe, instead of feeling embarrassed by those versions, we should be grateful to them.
Because every confident person you've ever admired was once just another beginner who decided to wobble anyway. After all this conversation, I keep thinking about that networking event we talked about at the beginning. The one where someone told me, "I wish I had your confidence." Back then, I thought they had completely misunderstood me. Because all I could remember was how nervous I felt.
But maybe they saw something you couldn't see yet.
I think you're right. And here's the strange part. For years, I looked at confident people and thought, one day, I'll become someone like them. As if confidence was a destination, some magical place you finally arrive.
I think a lot of us do that. We imagine there's a future version of ourselves. Confident me, fluent me, successful me, ready me. And somehow, that version feels like a completely different person.
But now, I'm starting to wonder if I've had it backwards. Maybe future Noah has been waiting for present Noah to stop waiting.
I love that. Because future you can't magically appear. Present you has to build them. One awkward conversation.
One shaky presentation.
One brave question.
One tiny step at a time. And you know, I keep thinking about that speaker I admired. The one who quietly admitted, "I'm nervous." For the longest time, I thought he was naturally confident. Now, I think I was wrong.
Maybe he wasn't pretending. Maybe he was practicing.
Wow, I think that's my favorite sentence we've said today. Not pretending, practicing. That changes everything.
Yep, Practicing means you're allowed to be imperfect. You're expected to be imperfect. That's the whole point.
And maybe, one day, someone will look at you and quietly think, I wish I had their confidence. Without realizing, you're still practicing too.
So, if there's one idea we hope stays with you after today's conversation, it's this. Please, don't wait for confidence before you begin.
Because confidence has been late to every important moment in your life. But somehow, you still learned to walk.
You still learn to speak.
You still learned countless new things.
This week, don't challenge yourself to be fearless. That's a lot of pressure.
Instead, just choose one small thing you've been waiting to feel ready for. Maybe it's saying hello first.
Maybe it's asking a question.
Maybe it's speaking English for 5 minutes.
Maybe it's making that phone call you've been avoiding.
Whatever it is, take one awkward step. Just one.
Confidence might not be waiting before that step. It might be quietly waiting on the other side of it.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. We always hope these conversations make your English a little stronger.
And maybe your week a little lighter too.
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd love to have you back for another conversation here on Slow English HQ.
Until then, be patient with yourself.
Laugh at the awkward moments when you can. And remember, every confident person you admire was once just another beginner, trying anyway.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye.